in order to be a successful man, do you have to be an alpha male? And if you are a beta male, are you doomed to failure your entire life? Well, this is something I want to get into in today's episode of The Sophisticated Scoundrel. All right, so the first thing that I'd like to do is actually define what does it mean to be alpha? What does it mean to be beta? Most people refer to alpha as an image, as a visual. The guy who's big, who's tough, who's got muscles, who is this gym bro. That's sort of, everyone thinks that's the alpha male, right? This sort of hulking gorilla guy who's running around like just brutish force. And a beta is a skinny, wimpy dork who is nerdy, who doesn't have a good physique, and represents the scared, wimpy caricature of what some men are like. Okay, so this is generally what people think of when they think alpha or beta. Now, I don't think those are good ways to describe what these terms are in reference to, because being alpha or being beta is more of a mindset. So I want you to consider it like this. Being alpha is a man who marches to the beat of his own drum, regardless of what others around him think, say, or do. You could have alphas who are that stereotypical, that hero, that, the very strong, chiseled jawline, the sexy guy with the ripped abs. Yes, that could maybe be an alpha type of a guy, but it's more so it's the guy who's willing to do what he wants. He puts himself first. This is what I would consider much more of an alpha type of a man. He doesn't need to look a certain way. He needs to behave a certain way. And that is generally putting himself first, okay? Now, when it comes to betas put themselves last. They minimize themselves. They suck up to people. They kiss butt. And they generally have this attitude of being a people pleaser because they deep down don't have good self-esteem and they don't think they're worth it. So they'll defer to everyone else around them and not defer or consider themselves in any given situation, okay? So this, I think, is a better way to think about alpha versus beta. Okay, so this is sort of the definition of how I want you to reframe and think about alpha and beta. Now, if you are an alpha, are you always an alpha? Or if you're beta, are you always in beta? This is the next point that I want to make to you, is that being alpha or being beta can also be very contextual, okay? And you're not always going to be alpha all of the time. And you're not going to be beta all of the time, especially when you're looking at what alpha is from the perspective of competency and skills and ability, okay? So for example, ice skating. Let's say you bring me to an ice skating rink and there's this guy there who's a pro. Now, when it comes to ice skating, he's going to be the alpha of the group. This guy knows what he's doing. He can lead. He does things that no one else can do. He's the alpha because he knows it better than anybody else. In that particular circumstance, I'm not going to be the alpha. I'm not even saying that I'm an alpha in general anyway. I don't really characterize myself as anything like that. But I'm just saying, in that circumstance, I would certainly be considered the beta because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Now, if there were girls there and we were flirting and chatting and a little banter back and forth, teasing each other, now I could potentially be the quote-unquote alpha because I know how to do that perhaps better than the guy on skates. So it's very contextual, you know, and it's okay to be a beta in certain things and more alpha in others. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And so I want you guys to consider, again, you know, guys who are nerds, who typically are people consider betas, well, if they're really good at a game and they're killing it, they could be considered an alpha of that world. Like I see video game videos online, people playing Mortal Kombat. These guys are just pros at playing Mortal Kombat. Now, those guys are fucking alphas when it comes to playing this game. They're really good at it. Now, how are they socially? I don't really know. But I'm just talking about in that context, these guys are going to have that alpha status. They're the top dog, and they may draw in women, they'll draw in business opportunities, sponsorship opportunities, they'll draw in the adoration of fans, like they respect this guy, and that carries with it that alpha vibe, that alpha ambiance, right? Whereas some guy who wasn't so good, who was a chump, was good at the game, maybe talk a lot of shit, but had no skills to back it up, he's gonna look like the beta of that world of Mortal Kombat, online fighting, right? So again, you have to look at what is alpha, what is beta in a context, and not get so hung up on if you're an alpha or beta. To me, who really cares? The more important thing is how you are living your life. And me personally, marching to the beat of your own drum, using yourself as a frame of reference, and really going for what you truly want is the preferred way to live for me. Now let's talk about, thirdly, do you need to be an alpha? Do you need to be a beta to get women? The reality is a lot of beta men get women. This is something that I think a lot of guys don't realize. And if I had to pick, beta men probably get more women than alpha men do. And let me explain why this is. Beta men are going to be, in the dating world, are considered guys who are beta providers, which are men who have a good job, financial stability. They're more emotionally softer. They're more, like if they're with a woman, they're much more likely to bend over backwards for that woman. They're not going to hold her accountable for things. They're going to placate her. They're going to say, oh, baby, it's okay. You know, they have the idea that, oh, she can do no wrong. She's an angel. I'll do anything for her. This is typically what is characterized as being a beta provider when it comes to relationships. And there's just simply, from a mathematical standpoint, way more betas in the world than there are the alphas. That's just the way that it works. That's just the statistics and the reality of the world. So if you look at it from that standpoint, more beta men get women than alpha men do, okay? Now, let's look at the flip side, okay? Because I think a lot of guys think, okay, if I'm an alpha, I'll get women. And I agree, you certainly will. But here's the catch with this. Usually alpha like that, if you're talking about the alpha type, right? That archetype, they are go-getter, hustlers, direct, they're disciplined, maybe they really pay attention to their physical fitness, they have boundaries, they put themselves first, and they have certain expectations for those around them. Well, this is a lot of work for women, and some women are going to be down for that. They're going to be like, yes, I want to support him regardless. I'm in love with him, and I want to be that woman for him. But a lot of women, it's a lot of work, and they don't want to put up with that. They would rather be with a guy who's a bit more chill and laid back and doesn't hold them accountable, or doesn't live such a rigid, structured lifestyle that's a little bit hard to swallow. So now they may be attracted to that alpha personality for a while and want to get their rocks off by this guy who's so ultra masculine and driven and is just on his mission. But to be with that long term, it can really wear on a woman. And what's interesting is you'll see, if you look at the dating patterns of women, if they're with a very alpha guy, like a guy who's just does his own thing, is really driven completely, she's definitely not the first thought in his brain. You know, his own life mission, purpose are first. And if she dates a guy like that and they break up, the next type of guy that she'll be with is generally going to be a beta, because they're tired of the alpha dude. They'd be like, I need some beta time where I can just be consoled. He's going to give me attention and tell me how pretty I am. And that's fine, you know. Women have needs too, but it's very interesting to look at the pattern of dating for many women. They bounce back and forth, because then when they're with a beta for a long time, they're like, okay, I can't stand this. He's so clingy. He's so needy. He's just over emotional. Like, you'll hear about women. Just recently, there was that, I think it was a soccer player whose wife divorced him, saying that he was too perfect, right? And this could be said for many betas, is that there's nothing going on. There's no drama. There's no emotional, like, intrigue. There's no mystery. It's like they take it for granted. This beta guy is going to do whatever they want for them. She can get away with what she wants. And there's going to be this antsiness to feel some masculine strength. The woman's like, I don't want to be able to get away with everything. I want the man to put me in my place if I'm misbehaving. They itch for this if they're with a beta for too long. Now you're probably wondering, well, then how the hell, you can't be alpha, can't be beta, what the fuck do you do? Well, the ideal position to be in is have a little bit of both. To be driven, but to also have a little bit of those moments where you're nurturing. You know, think of those movies where it's like the Beauty and the Beast, where it's like this very aggressive man, but only she gets to pull out and see some of his soft side, right? There is this fantasy that women love to tame the beast. And they don't want to be your number one priority, but they want to be able to experience the power of the masculine strength, but also that connection and bonding that so many beta men are good at providing to them. So, you know, when you look at alphas that are these guys who are losers, that people like to call losers or bad boys or jerks, you know, when they say women love the bad boys, this is what they're talking about. That these alpha guys, they march to the beat of their own drum. They really don't give a shit what she thinks. And it's attractive to women to a certain extent. But like I said, if it goes on for too long, if they're really just too aggressively, you know, because some guys get to the point where they're just not good dudes. It doesn't matter if you're, I mean, alpha doesn't necessarily mean you're a nice guy. And beta doesn't mean you're necessarily a pushover. But in general, these are the traits that these type of men are going to have. So when you look at men who are alpha and they do whatever the fuck they want, well, a lot of the times you'll get these situations where they're just so far in that direction. It's just hard for the woman to be with that guy. He's got to bring in. That's why, you know, you look at a guy like, just to use a celebrity for an example, a guy like Prince is interesting because he's alpha as hell, man. The guy is driven. All he did was music, focusing on that. But he's got that passion. He'll fuck the shit out of a girl and make her feel sexy as hell, wanted, desired. So he can kind of toggle between the two, right? He's got that raw sex appeal, that alpha quality of being dominant and masculine, but he's also got that soft and tender side when it comes to the arts and creation and just knowing how to fuck a woman really good. So, are you alpha? Are you beta? Ideally, you can incorporate a little bit of both. I think it's better to skew more alpha. You do your own thing. But every now and then, you drop into a little of that beta mode. And I wouldn't even call it, you know, be a beta. I think it's more about being able to be confident. You are the center. You make decisions that are best for you, that are ultimately best for you and your girl. But you have moments where you can kick back, embrace her, give her those moments of infatuation, that love, that embrace, that emotional connection. But then the rest of the time, do your thing, you know, have fun with her, tease her, banter, all those kinds of things. But every now and then, a little here and there, you're able to dip into that well, give her a little taste of those things. And that really, that duality, being able to go back and forth, is going to be a very powerful, powerful thing. So you don't always need to be the alpha no matter where you go. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to do it, you know, and you have to be able to sit back. Let some other guy do that. If you go somewhere and he seems to be the alpha dude, it's okay to sit back and observe every now and then. I do it a lot myself where You know, I enter a new environment. I don't know what's going on necessarily. I need to watch, learn, and figure out, okay, so he's that, he's that. Here's how I fit into this picture. And there may be opportunities where you can kind of flex a certain muscle. But I believe there's in the book, what is it called? The Law of Power, the 48 Laws of Power. There is one of the laws where it says, you know, you want to make other people feel like they're in control, or do you want to allow other people to feel like they're in control, they're in power? This is how you kind of usurp or get power eventually. Because if you're trying to come in there like, I'm the alpha, I'm the man, and I do this, and I'm not going to be told what to do, blah, 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 you're going to end up making enemies, looking like a jerk, looking like a fool. Because if you don't know how to do something, you're just like an idiot. So there's power in knowing when to sit back and not always thinking, I'm the alpha male here. Now, again, don't use this as an excuse to never do anything. You don't want to just be the beta dorky guy sitting in the corner and just kissing ass. But this is where your sensory acuity and your social skills come into play, so you can understand when the time and place is to flex some more of the assertive alpha qualities that we're talking about, or you just chill and kind of observe and wait. So that's something to think about. If you guys are interested in working together with me one-on-one for coaching, click the links down below and you will find my coaching website where you can read all about the programs that I offer. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I drop videos every week. Please like this video on your way out the door. Appreciate it. And that'll do it for this week's video. We will see you in the next one.